Flosstube. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and it is Sunday, July 5th, 2020. I thought I was going to film this last night, but it gets a little noisy out here between the fireworks and the gunshots, so I decided I would wait till today. And today it's a little noisy between the traffic and the truck that's hauling loads of hay up and down the hill. They just went down, so I'm hoping that I will be done with this before they make their next run. I've been stitching a lot. Not a lot, but I've been getting, in the time I've been stitching, I've made lots of progress. I finished Be Well. This is one of the Be Well and Stitch freebies by the Blackberry Rabbit. If I can find the link, I will put it in the description down below. Hopefully it's there. The colors on these two hearts are wrong. I stitched it with DMC from my complete set and then realized I have got two bobbins of, what is this color? 3771. They're completely different shades of pink. So I, somewhere when I was bobbinating, made a mistake. And when I was finishing this up, I didn't care enough to pull out my color card and see which was the right one and possibly redo it. Because this little guy, he's adorable. She, bees or she's, usually. I love her. I had so much trouble with the wings that I wound up stitching them one wing twice, one wing 3 times, and there's no reason for that. It is charted fine. It makes sense. For whatever reason, my brain was not processing the shape of these wings the way that it should have. Happy it's done. It will go in the stack of what may go into my journal or my scrapbook or whatever I wind up putting my little smalls in. It's cute. I like it. Yeah, bees. If it has bees, I probably want to stitch it. I pulled out Stitching Lessons, which was my second or third mania start, and I had just done most of this chunk of the clock. This week I worked on the shading of the wall and the mother's face and the little girl's hair. And have I mentioned that I love Riola's kits? I love Riola's kits. What I am doing here, all of this empty space is going to be the same 2 colors. So while I was in the mood for a challenge, I worked on the shading of the face, and at some point soon when it's late at night or early in the morning or I'm fighting a headache and feel like doing just one color, I'll go back and fill this in. I'm still trying not to jump around aimlessly and recklessly, but for this makes sense, I think. And in case you want to see what the whole thing will look like, there you go. This is a big one. It is 30 by 40 centimeters, which at some point I had looked up. It's good size, and I love it. And I really, her face is one of those things that if you look at it closely while you're stitching, it looks wrong, but once you get farther away than I hold my stitching, it really looks good. Riola's, the official company, is doing a stitch along this summer, and I was seriously tempted, but it looks like they want you to start with a new project. And I don't know how many Riola's projects I'm stitching on right now. I didn't want to start a brand new one when I'm making so much happy progress on this one, so I'm just going to follow the hashtag and see what everybody else is doing. But if you want to start something new, maybe that's for you. I'll put a link into that in the description below. I said in the last video when I had just finished the key that I was going to pull light back out, and I did. And look how far I got. I have some trim at the bottom of her dress, her shoes filling in the white on the dress and the tip of the tail, and then the vine arching over past her tail, and I love her. I want to go through my stash and pull out everything with fancy dresses and stitch it. And I know I have things with fancy dresses with geometric patterns, but what I don't know is if I actually want to start a bunch of things right now or if I just like the idea. Part of me wants to go through and sort out my mania starts and see what I can get finished, which led me to the next thing I've got to show you. I finished Ripe Apples. Look at it. Is that not glorious? And someone told me that I should frame this because it's too pretty to put in the under the bed box, but I hope that most of what I stitch is too pretty to go in the under the bed box. And yes, this would look great on the wall, but I don't know compared to my other finishes that would look great on the wall if I want to frame this one or not. I'm not making that decision today. Someone else asked me, this is 10 count Aida, and they wanted to know if I used 2 or 3 strands. This is, I'll try to get a closer view. This is 2 strands of the wool acrylic blend on 10 count Aida. The coverage is, I think, fantastic. It's what the company said to do, so I did it. And this finish has its very own video because I have a new project in mind. I am tackling my UFOs, and the ones where I have made a mistake and caused the project to be a UFO, I'm trying to learn from my mistakes so I don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. This is the same problem I had with the hedgehogs with lingonberries, where I left little isolated bits of confetti stitch and then I didn't want to fix it later. Once I actually decided to make myself fix it, I did 2 hours over the course of 2 evenings. Then I filmed the intro to the Tackling My UFOs video, and seriously, once I sat down and fought my way through it, it only took 2 hours. And I had it done. And I had the back stitching, the minimal back stitching in, and the grid lines pulled. And why did I not put in that couple of hours months ago? Love it. Glad it's finished. Love Riola's kits. I know I sound like a broken record. I'm stitching socks. If you remember my last pair of socks, they dragged on for months. These socks are actually all twisted, but look, it's a sock. And here's the toe of another sock. There's not much to say. They're socks. They give me a way to keep my fingers moving. I'm not even keeping, they're on my project tracker, but realistically, I am just picking them up and doing a round or 2 while I wait for something else to happen. So there's nothing to track, except for the fact that a few rounds at a time, you will get a sock, and then you will get a second sock, and then you will have a pair. And, oh, my other favorite new thing right now is this. I found it at Hobby Lobby. I keep going back to see if it's time for the yarn clearance yet, and it's not, and I'm coming to terms with the fact that I will miss the yarn clearance. But I found this in their sewing notions. It doesn't look like it belongs in the sewing notions. When you open it up, it really doesn't look like it belongs in the sewing notions, but this is a pincushion. And it's just a little bit of sponge with red fabric over it, but it is perfect for keeping my needles in. And I've been telling myself for weeks or months that I needed to sew a needle book and stop sticking needles in my project, in the fabric of my project bag, or the edge of my current project, or the fabric covered edge of my little table I keep my laptop on. So this is perfect. I don't know why I don't wear lipstick, but the idea of these old-fashioned lipstick containers makes me smile. And now what I really, really want to do is stock the estate sales and find one of the old school metal refillable lipstick tubes and put a sponge and some fabric in it and have a more unique one. I know I saw one right after the lockdown lifted, and I can't remember why I didn't want to buy it, because I've been looking for them for years for something else that I can't even remember what it is now. So now I wish I would have bought it, but I don't think it was a pretty one. I have this vague idea of a pretty one based on something my grandmother used to own that I can't even clearly remember. But hey, it gives me something to look for, and having something to look for is always fun. And that is pretty much my progress on my projects for the week. My rhythm of my stitching has really kind of changed the past couple of weeks. I want to stitch, and when I do sit and stitch, I am loving it, but I'm also giving myself permission on some days that Just because I feel like I should be stitching maybe doesn't mean I should be stitching. I've been reading a lot. I've been stitching some. I need to get a new shawl on my needles because I'm gonna have some time that I probably will need to keep my hands moving, and this sock is not going to fill much of that time. And actually, in previous years when I was in moods like this, that would be the year I knit 30 pairs of socks, so I don't know if it's good that I am not knitting endless pairs of pointless socks, but right now it does feel like that's progress of some sort. I don't know. Can't explain it. If I can't understand it, I certainly don't expect you to understand the logic of what's going through my head right now. Thank you for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I'm gonna figure out which of my UFOs will be next for a Tackling the UFOs video. I think it might be Canner's Kitchen because there's another mistake in the colors of that one, and I can't go up to Acorns and have my friends sort it out, so I'm on my own. Or I'm posting pictures on Instagram and asking my friends if they can make sense from the pictures and help me sort it out. I know I'm not really on my own, but I'm a little on my own. I'll be back with you again with more videos soon.